Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Brief. Today, we're very fortunate to have Andrea Palten, who is the head of marketing at Techstars and a new venture where you're founder of CMO Growth Guide. Andrea, thank you so much for being here and tell us a little bit about your background and what you're up to lately.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and thanks for having me. So, I have 25 years of marketing experience. It's going to be a long background, so I'm going to summarize it for you. I actually started off at giant companies like Transamerica. And as I got further along in my career, I really started noticing I want to help more the medium guy and the little guy. So I started going to smaller and smaller companies. And now I am completely immersed in the startup world. As you said, I'm the head of marketing at Techstars. So that means I help 5,000 plus founders with getting them noticed and helping out Techstars, getting new founders in the door. And then I have been teaching as well for almost 10 years now. And I used to have my own marketing courses. I left that behind, but I can't completely leave it behind. And then a couple of months ago, I said, hey, with AI and AI search, I'm starting again. And that's where the CMO Growth Guide comes in, where I teach same thing, founders, startups on how to market themselves. And one of my latest courses is AI search visibility.
Fantastic. So, Andrea, that's a big jump, right? From big corporate to small startups. Um, are you just attracted to the bumblebee effect of what startups are like and the mania that all that exists? Like, tell us about like what led you to go, oh, wait, this is going to be where I really need to be.
So I have this thing, and my husband hates it. I love change. Oh, give me change, give me new. I'm one of those people that thrives on a little bit of chaos. And so being in a very well-oiled machine like the big companies I worked at, it was just boring. I got bored, and I like to be wear a lot of hats, and I like to do a lot. And for me, the newness is important. And so being working for startups, like things are new every day just because the startup itself is evolving. And then again with with AI coming on the picture the last 2 years, there's been so much change that I'm like thriving. This is my environment. Everybody's freaking out and they're saying marketers are going to lose their jobs, and I'm in the back like, hey, hi, let's do this. So it's very yeah, I love it. I love the new.
So in the startup realm and in tech starts in particular, you're involved with all these amazing founders and they're trying to make the world a better place with these magical business models and innovation, etc. How do you, as a marketer, like where do you start with them, and then how do you deal? I like one of the things I could not do is like see your babies go off and become adults or hopefully become very successful adults, but like how do you like separate yourself from them once they start to get their wings, because that sometimes is the most fun part.
Yes. I love watching them, right? So I see them on LinkedIn, I see them on YouTube or wherever they're at. And so it's just that's exciting. So for me, I think it's more of a like, hey, I'm still here if you need me. A lot of our managing directors, they're amazing. And they talk to some of their startups that they helped like years and years ago. And so one of the things we say at Techstars is for life. And it really truly is. Like you don't really get away. And most people don't want to get away. They want to be part of that community. We're launching this new product that is an old product. It's just newly released Techstars Universe, where we really are making sure, like, listen, you have to keep this network. And it's so interesting, as you know. You work with companies all the time. A lot of these founders, they're addicted to founding. So they sell their company and they start a new one, and then they come back to Techstars and then they find another co-founder. So there's this constant intermingling of people's minds, and the network is just so strong. And so they never really go away. So I don't really, you know, they don't go away from me. I see them and I still, check in on them all the time online.
Got it. As a marketer, where do you go to find your inspiration and keep like in touch with what's going on and to to inform the advice and counsel and support that you provide to your organization, because you're making sure that you attract the right founders. Talk a little bit about like all the dynamics of like the challenge that you face as a head of marketing for the organization, and then how you break that down to actually being involved on an individual organization level of those that are in your cohort each cycle.
Yeah. We're lucky at Techstars. Techstars is known in the accelerator world. So when people are looking to join an accelerator, they most of the time have already heard of us. So for us, it's more of a like educational thing. Like, how can you have the best application possible as the founder? How can you have the best video as the founder to make sure that you're actually seen and you get in? It's pretty hard to get into Techstars. So that's been an easy way to do marketing, right? We more or less just want the right people to apply. So there's a lot of education, awareness, and that type of thing. And then once they're in the hands of the MDs. It's really a close knit group. We have some of the cohorts have like 10 people or 10 companies in there, which sometimes is about 20 people because they have co founders. So they get really, really close with the managing directors. I don't step in as the marketer there at all. I did my part, talked about Techstars, they applied. Then once they graduate and they're done with the program, a lot of times we'll do continuing education. There's a wonderful woman named Tishan that runs that at Techstars, and I teach classes for her sometimes, just looking at founders' websites to making sure that the homepage is set up so they convert, those types of things. And so that's the time where I'm really more involved when they come and can ask me questions directly when they come to one of those trainings that we do.
Got it. Got it. So one of the things that I kind of fundamentally believe about the best marketers is they thrive in chaos, and they are like constantly absorbing information and watching people and like students of human nature and ideas on the rise in culture. Tell us a little bit about how you approach those things, and how's that fit? Is that resonating with you as you think of yourself and as a marketer?
Yeah. I mean, for me, one of the things that I am really looking into right now is Generation Z that is getting into the market and starting their own startups. Very different marketing than Generation X. And so there's a lot of psychology behind it. And that's the stuff that I stay on top of the most because the tools will change. I mean, there's like thousands, millions, there's millions of tools that we can choose from. The tools will always change. Things will always evolve in marketing, and you do have to stay on top of that. But for me, it's really the target audience. Like if my target audience is shifting, which we're seeing that shift right now, um, that's what I need to be paying attention to. I cannot, play a David Bowie song on a video. I might have to play Drake or somebody else.
Right.
So there's these changes, and also a lot of the old time founders, it was all about the hustle and the grind and making money. A lot of the new founders that are coming up, they want to make a difference.
Mm.
They want to change the world. There's a lot more loftier goals being talked about. And so that's the kind of stuff I hone in as a marketer, right? It's like, what's the conversation? I always want to listen. Like, what are they interested in? What is their goal? Why are they interested in Techstars? And really, it's about the end game of what they want to achieve. Before it was the hustle and the money. Now it's changing the world. So we need to make sure that we show them the right kind of companies that are just like them, because we have many, many, many startups that are doing amazing things with the environment and some other really important issues. And so that's the kind of stuff that we want to make sure we showcase as marketers.
I love that. Um, I'm always uh, fundamentally one of the things we at Model B, the company I run, uh, we focus on is removing friction from anything we can, right? And the great things happening in the world today that are helping with that if you pay attention to them, and frankly don't become slave to them, because I think that's part of the challenge, right? Is balancing what you use as a tool versus something you have to tend all the time. The other thing is constantly thinking differently around the way you solve problems and looking for ways to truly, have novel solutions. And the startup arena is all about that, right? So talk a little bit about how you as an organization even try to do that, or is there a different kind of way that you think about that in terms of your role and the way you support the culture of the organization as well?
Can you go a little bit more detailed in what you're wanting from me?
Well, so I will definitely get into an AI tools and the way AI is affecting us conversation, but to me, like the sometimes one of the things that's really helpful is mapping out the root actions behind anything to then decide are the things you can eliminate and then what can you automate, right? And what's actually like how can you take friction out of the equation? The we for example we look for resources that have vetted tools and proven where they apply, and then we really only engage in those because, AI tools, just as an example, there's so many ways you could go. I mean, there's a thousand to like if you just even use one of the tools to inquire what's the best to do, like presentation development, it'll give you 7 options. And then you have to even then drill down and like to which one actually does, a Canva better or whatever your kind of what's going to be better in a data room, like what's going to be better for investors, what's going to have the natural pathway for you. So we're constantly unpacking those details to then redo them, taking friction out. And I'm just curious, as you think about the marketing you do and even the support of the team, the MDs and the others on the team, like what actions are you thinking about and is removing friction part of the equation? Is it helping people, as they're even applying? Are you constantly even thinking, is there something we can do to improve the application process or things like that?
Yeah. I'm going to give you multiple answers here. So one of our managing directors, Andres Barado, he's amazing, and he put together a way to apply with AI, and he gave a whole training on it. So he's literally giving it away
Love
for
that.
free. This is how you apply using AI. So we definitely try to take the friction out in that kind of work. The application is pretty simple though. There's not too much friction there to begin with. And then as a company, we're a bigger company. We have funds, so we have the big tools. HubSpot, Salesforce, they're all integrated. We're all set up really nicely. But what I really want to talk about and answer is how the startups can do things. They
Right.
don't have a lot of money. They don't have a design engineering team. They can't integrate all these products. And so there, when I talk to the founders, mostly from CMO Growth Guide, my own business, is I really try to make, what do you need? What's the absolute basics that you need? Don't get ChatGPT, Glot, Jasper, Perplexity, all these AI tools. Pick one or maybe two that work for the needs that you have. Same thing with attribution and analytics, right? I always like to look at simpler tools. I like Mixpanel for that. And that is one of the things that a lot of the founders I work with personally, they don't even know how to do attribution marketing and metrics and figuring out, what's working and what's not working. So again, one tool, one easy view, figure that out. And then if you are going to be looking at getting these bigger tools that do have to be integrated. I mean, Zapier is a great thing for all startups. Doesn't cost a lot. It's an easy tool to use. And then I just really just look at the ground up. Like, what is your target audience? Where do you need to be? That's one tool. What is your main thing? Are you doing podcasts and that's how you get people in? Are you writing blogs? Are you on social? Are you, doing LinkedIn cold calls? That's a tool. And then I just figure out, okay, what's the cheapest? What's the easiest? What's the one thing that can do a lot? Like for my own personal business, I'm on a website called Kajabi. Kajabi has podcasts, email, courses, websites. It's all in one. It's easy. So that's the kind of stuff that I look at when I work with a lot of the startups because it's so overwhelming and they get sold so many things and I'm just like, stick with the basics. You can always build as you're growing, as you're making more money, but at the beginning, like just keep it simple.
I love it. As you think about building brands, which you have lots of experience in, and in fact, I love the kind of natural synergy of the work you do for Techstars and the CMO Growth Guide. I mean, the the most successful organizations hold brand near and dear to their heart, and all the decisions they make have a component of being thoughtful of whether you call it brand or culture or whatever your why, the same general premise. And uh, but as you think about the tension and power of the combination of those things, is that what led you down this path of having this other component that you're building?
Yeah. So my personal value is kindness. I really believe that, life's short, be nice to each other. And that's one of the things that actually drew me to Techstars. I don't know how much you know about Techstars, but David Cohen is one of the co-founders and he's the CEO. He one of our core thoughts is give first. Like you really give not to get, you give to give. And that really drew me to Techstars because that's my own personal belief as well. And so that is, and then helping the startups is amazing. But since we can only help so few, again, it's like Harvard getting into Techstars. I don't want to leave all these other people out. A lot of people started coming to me as solopreneurs, no money, no budget, no co-founder. They're just not ready for Techstars yet, and they still needed help. And I couldn't say no. And so I was like, you know what? I gotta help. I gotta help. And I figured out a way to help that it's in cohesion with Techstars. It's my own company. It's my own thing. I told Techstars about it. They're like, "Oh my God, do it. Go help these folks." And so I'm able to talk about startups and helping them. And if they're really great, I'm going to throw them over to Techstars to apply. If they're at the really really early very early stage, then I work with them and help them out. So it's this really like good cohesion and we all have the same goal. It's giving first, being kind, helping out others. So that's why this works so well. And a lot of people, you asked me like, when do you sleep? Well, I do this like on my free time. I do this in the evenings. I do this on the weekends. And I have courses. It's easier than doing straight up consulting or the work that you guys are doing at Model B. I record them and
Yeah,
then people buy the recordings. I don't have to keep recording over and over again.
yeah.
So my, 100% of my time goes to Techstars, but then as a hobby on the side, I do the extra marketing courses and coaching to startups.
Well, the nice thing about doing what you're passionate about is that it's not work, right? And it recharges your battery because it's an adjacent thing, but it's complementary. That's super, super cool. I love that. Um, what's some of the best advice you've ever been given and by whom? And as a counterpoint to that, what's some of the worst and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, the best advice I've given was from one of my direct reports, Kristen. If you're listening, Kristen, this was many, many, many years ago. I was a new manager. And because of my personality, and you've already seen this, I like to work. I work all the time. I'm a little bit of a workaholic. I freely admit that, but it's my hobby too. And I expected my staff to do the same. And one day she came over and she sat me down and she said, my dad owns a company and he's very, very successful. And his advice was always, unless the building is burning and somebody is dying, do not call me after 5. Do not expect me to work after 5. And do not come in on weekends and do any work. And she didn't say anything. She just left that. And then she left and that ruminated. And I was like, oh my God, I am pushing people too hard because I like to do this. This is fun for me. For some people, it's just not fun. It's a
Yeah.
9 to 5. It's what puts food on the table. And so I really learned this was years ago, I think 10 years ago, I learned that, to expect the right things from the right people and push the people the right way. Like some people are here to work their butts off and they're going to be with me staying up at midnight because it's fun for them. There's people that are going to leave exactly at 4:59, 5 o'clock. They're logging out and that's fine too.
Yeah.
And so that was the best advice I've ever been given. It's like, just calm down. It's just a company. It's just a job. The worst. I've gotten a lot of bad advice.
Yeah.
Um, One of the worst advice personally, and it do works for some people, but it did not work for me. I had an agency, and I just started it, and I had got multiple advice from the marketing gurus online that burn all the boats. You need to go all in 100% and then just drive, 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 drive. And that's the only way you can succeed. I did that. And I was succeeding, but it was a slow growth. Companies don't make money on the day first. And the entire time I was so stressed out about money and income and the people I was trying to pay, my staff. And it was just a big old stress bomb. That's all it was. Had I kept my 9 to 5 or maybe got some fractional work as a fractional CMO, I would have been able to do both because I
Mm.
do like to work late hours. But I would not have had that stress and it would have been fun. And so that is one of the worst advice I've ever gotten. And I've seen it unfortunately too many times. People have come to me that burnt the boats and they're literally, that's all they care about is like, how do I get money in the door? And it's not about building your brand, building your thought leadership, getting out there. It's all about just money, money, money. And then you're losing a lot of the marketing and branding that you should be doing because you're so desperate and it comes across. Um, so it's such bad advice, in my opinion, is to burn the boats.
Yeah, I totally agree that, and that's one that and sometimes you have to experience it to understand what that means, right? And then find your own balance because there are some people that somehow are successful in that way. Um, but it's interesting. Yeah. Um, as you think back on some of the work that you've been involved in any way, tell us a story of a couple of examples where you're really proud of what happened based on what you were working on, and then what was the genesis of the strategic insights and the ideas that led to that work that really made a dent in the universe in a positive way.
Yeah. I'm such an analytical marketer, so for me, a lot of the outcomes and the analytics, that's what makes me really proud. So this might not be like the best campaign or the most creative, but it's the actual like, oh my gosh, I just increased pipeline by 400, 300 or 300%, those kinds of numbers that I'm like, oh, that was amazing. One of the things that I'm really proud of is coming up with new ideas for companies. I worked for one company that was really Fortune 500 clients, and they just did basic marketing. And I brought in ABM, accounts based marketing. I brought in Six Sense. That was really cool to see the shift there. Um, those are the kinds of things that I'm really, really proud of on a like analytical basis because,
Mm.
I made a lot of money for the company
Sure.
with the marketing campaigns that I did. And then on a personal level, the stuff that I'm really proud of is a lot of the junior marketers that have been under me. I've had junior marketers that have surpassed me and now they're like making like crazy money as CMO as big companies. And that's the baby, right? That's when you earlier talking about the startups. For
Sure.
me, though, that's the baby. It's a lot of the people that work for me. Seeing them just take off is amazing. I've seen some of them completely leave corporate behind and started their own businesses and came to me for help. That's cool. That's a cool way to like work with them. And then also like doing a lot of like having junior people and just training them on like new marketing things and how to work together. Again, I lead with kindness, so that's something that I instill in my staff. We're very helpful to each other. If one of us has a bad day, we can literally just say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. Can you help me?" And everybody jumps in. "What do you need? How can I help you?" Or if
Mm.
someone goes on vacation or somebody goes on maternity leave, that is the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to think about when I'm older. I'm not going to think about my analytics. That's cool in the moment,
Yeah.
but the stuff that the people I've worked with and the staff that I've helped guide, that's my favorite.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. The people side of it's fantastic, and in most cases, at least there's that side of it that's very good. There's also experiences that you're like, "Oh my gosh, can this not ever happen again?" At least if your experience has been like mine, there's been times where, uh, that was sometimes the case, but, that's the nature of humanity, right? And, so as you think of, how you fuel the culture and support the culture and, understand the why-ness of the brands that you work with, what's your process for getting there? Like, how do you get in the zone and understand it and find that authentic message and context? What's the Andrea way for getting there?
Yeah. With the younger folks, again, it's easy. They come to us with the why. They already have the why. When they apply, they have the why. the people that are maybe struggling with that a little bit, we really just sit down and sometimes the why really is, I want to have my own company and I want to make money. Well, if that's the case, and this is why I think a lot of marketers kind of get stuck on, don't leave it there. Well, then what's the why for your company, for your customers?
Yeah.
Just talk about that. You don't have to have a why for yourself. And then we can make sure we turn it around that it's a why for everybody. It's the why for humanity. But really what is your customer wanting and why would they be interested? If if you're selling t-shirts, maybe your why is that you're not part of the fast fashion and you're in helping the environment, even though all you want to do is just have t-shirts, right? But there has to be a why. So for me, it's just sitting down and having conversations, digging in deeper, digging in deeper. If the why is really just founder aligned and it's not target audience aligned, I do tell them we need to shift this. We need to really get in a little bit deeper. And then lots of times we'll just do like whiteboarding and do Venn diagrams. This is your why. This is your target audience why. Which one of these overlaps? And then that's really where we try to figure out, okay, this is it. This is the key. This is what we're going to talk about. This is why you're doing what you're doing. So I feel like it's not that hard, Chris. I don't know if it's because I've worked with so many just aspiring startups, but it's never really been the biggest issue. The biggest issue I see is they don't understand their target audience.
Yeah.
Or they
Right.
sometimes go after the wrong audience altogether. And that I don't understand. To me, that's really easy. But again, I think about the psychology of marketing. That is where I have to sit down almost with 95% of the people that I work with. We got to start over with the target audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it was great to hear you talk about the Venn diagrams and mapping it out because I do think sometimes visualizing it and seeing it in a almost dimensional map helps. We actually do what we call an ecosystem map, where we imagine all the kind of structural processes internally and externally, like what are your partner relationships? What are your, material needs for, if you have stuff that you sell that's physical, what's your distribution model look like? What are the customer cohorts? What are their adjacencies? Who are not your customer? Because a lot of times by determining who isn't your customer, you see clearer who is. And I'll tell you the degree to which that visualization process helps eliminate a lot of the friction. And to do that, a lot of times we'll do that in front of other groups in the organization because sales or engineering or merchant team or whatever sees it and is like, okay, this isn't marketing, but that helps me understand why you're asking these questions. And now I understand why I have to like collaborate in a different way or think more openly. And what you described is a similar methodology. And I agree. What's interesting, so often the why is so simple that people run away from it because it's like obvious. It's like, well, that's just too obvious. No, honestly, that's usually the best sign ever is that it's right in front of you. People don't like having to wait in line and you have a solution to cut the line. That's your answer. That's your why. But a lot of times they would, no, we use this technology to to minimize the time and effort for filling out a form. Yeah, but that's not the real reason. The real reason is I got my form submitted instantly and I'm now not in line anymore. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
And now the time that you got back is you can spend time with your kids.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the why.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. What's the name of that framework that you're using on Model B?
Ecosystem map.
Love
Yeah.
it. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and literally we do it on a whiteboard and then we take it back and have a designer actually make it a little more, easy to consume because it's messy when you make it the first time. And
Yeah.
the beauty is you can use it over time and continue to use it as like a touchstone to keep the organization focused. And, and one of the things it helps us do as well is to diagnose marketing and marketing adjacent actions that the company could either stop doing, because especially companies that evolve from the original founder kind of approach to a post-seed stage, right? It's a different game. You're doing things differently. You need to look a little differently at what you're doing. And it's time to not evolve and leave that behind, but take the good with you and start to talk about the new. too. And we find that a really useful mechanism. So,
That's great.
um, in your CMO growth guide, I think the first thing you're focusing on there, education, some of the lessons around AI tools and the way to think about AI in your business. Talk about how you arrived at that, and what's the answer? Like, can you give us the punchline to the ever growing question?
Oh, yeah. So I've basically I really just teach three things. One, homepage conversion, how to set up your homepage the right way. And then this AI search that we'll talk about. And then a whole like it's almost like a beginner for startups, brand awareness, lead generation, lead nurturing, sales. So it's three courses, and that's all I really sell and talk about because that's the most important thing. But the AI search came up, which wasn't part of what I initially was going to do. And then I listened to a lot of podcasts. Oh my God, I listened to so many podcasts, and people were fighting about, is it SEO? Is it AI search? Is it GEO? Is it
Right,
ASEO? And people were fighting about the name. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a stupid conversation. Who
right.
cares what it's called? But let me look into it. And I started looking into it, and I was like, wait a minute, we're already doing a lot of this stuff at Techstars. I was doing this from I have an other brands that I've worked with. They're already doing this a little bit. And one of the big things with AI search is really just copy. That's the
Yeah,
low-hanging fruit that you can do, anybody can do. You do not need to have an engineering degree, a marketing degree, nothing. It's just low-hanging fruit. And so in my course, what I cover is there's a lot. So first, just really understanding what's the difference between generative engine optimization, GEO, and search engine optimization, SEO.
yeah,
Some of it is actually the overlap, so that's great. Some of it is not at all, and it is just an enhancement of search because people are more and more and more. I just saw a study from that came out, I think it was Pew Research, that there's such a drop in website visits right now because people are in the AI tools, finding what they need, and they're not clicking through. So you have to show up in both Google AI overview searches and in the AI tools themselves, like ChatGPT.
yeah,
So that shift, just not knowing what that shift is super important. And then I talk about really like building a reputation for AI. So how to get cited. Um, Backlinks might not be that big of a deal anymore. They still are with authority, but it's not the same as SEO. So we talk about that quite a bit. And then the content, which is the easy left. There's so much content that you can do. For example, if you have a blog, having an about you, the author, on every single blog page, yes, it's repetitive, it's the same thing over and over, is vital.
yeah,
Because when the AI, when they actually go to your website, they're on one specific blog post and they see the author, it's going to be like, whoa, Andrea Palten from the CMO Growth Guide really gets AI search. And they see it over and over again, and it starts feeding them, right? And when you go look at my name in ChatGPT, I come up as an AI search expert because I have all these blog posts and my author name is in all of them. Then the other thing I call topic death. A lot of people, they will write about one thing. You don't want to do that anymore because AI, when they call through your websites, they're going to see that things are interlinked. So you're going to have maybe a static page where you talk about what you're doing. So marketing consulting in your case,
hmm,
and then or marketing agency in your case, and then you have a blog post. These are the top 10 marketing agencies, and Model B happens to be number one. And then you link back and forth to all these pages internally. That prevents topic death. So the AI is going to be like, oh my God, Chris really knows how to talk about marketing agencies. And so that's the kind of stuff you want to work on. Then SEO, little keywords, right? Marketing agency. Now it's this whole sentence. And you want to really have FAQs, kind of like, what does Model B do? Model B is the top marketing agency in the world. And so you want to kind of repeat a little bit. And so there's just little shifts in copy that is
yeah,
an easy one that anybody can do.
yeah,
There's just a lot. There's a lot of little tricks. But I always tell all of my course takers, like, they're still humans reading. So don't just write for the AI
right.
because you don't want to turn off your customers. So you do have to find this fine balance in between both.
Yep.
Then one of my modules in there is about schema coding, and it made it really easy. I actually worked with a software engineer on this because I really wanted to make it really simple for people that may not understand coding. And so I have a free tool in there that you can write schema code, and that is just code that sits at the back end of your website. Your user doesn't see it. It's just the AI tools see it,
Yep.
and it's again a lot of FAQ type of thing, like, who is Andrea Palten? Andrea Palten is the founder of CMO Growth Guide, and that's all on the back end encoding. And then I show you how to put that on your website. And then I also have a schema code checker in there that you can check and making sure that you did it correctly. Um, and then there's just so much more about structure and formatting. And again, it's very kind of like how SEO on page versus off page. So I do a lot of on page work, but make it really simple and show you how to write copy basically on your website for AI.
Yeah, that's so I definitely, when I looked at what you're doing, I saw it as much more about a single thing, and clearly what you're doing makes total sense. You said it a minute ago in that these are the fundamentals that you must do to get things where you need them to be as a foundation. And we agree. We're seeing this as well. You're already doing content, you have content, so why wouldn't you just start to be GEO ready and be mindful of it and understand it so that you're building for the now and next, not just what you used to do. Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so as we look to the future, anything you want to talk about or give us a preview on that you have planned for either Techstars or for the CMO Growth Guide?
Yeah, Techstars were so well established, so we're already in the future right now. We're doing these fun things. They're called startup community partnerships, where this is the first time we're kind of giving Techstars away to the public a little bit, where you can build your own. We just had one in Sarajevo. We had just one in Tampa that is launching, and you work with Techstars and you get to do your startup community in your area. But Techstars, the brand, as part of you, and we will help you. So super cool. So that's already the future as we're just launched it this year. Very exciting. And then for the CMO Growth Guide, I think the next thing I'll be looking at is AI ads. Mark Zuckerberg talks about it all the time that, he's changing the Facebook Meta ads. It's going to be very, very AI driven. I mean, it already had always been AI
Yes.
driven,
Yes.
but now it's really on steroids. And
Yeah.
so that might be something I might be teaching in the future, because I do think that if you partake in that, all the ads are going to look the same.
Yes.
They're all going to sound the same. And my thing is, you need to stand out from the crowd, and I will show you how to stand out from the crowd. You can still use the AI tools, but these are the couple of things that you need to do different to tweak so you can stand out and don't look like the rest. So that's probably what I'm going to be working on next. But I really just look at my course takers, and they come to me and they're like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And then when I hear the same theme over and over, then that's the next thing that I do, because I really want to make sure I take care of my people already that are already with me, before I go find new people. Back to the kindness, back to
Yep.
giving first, right?
That's awesome. Both fronts. I love the involving with communities. That's really because if you aren't necessarily in the startup arena, um, you're aware of it, but you don't really have a sense of it. But if it actually is in your town and there's a way to, see it in firsthand and know that it's actually localized, and especially internationally. I mean, I love that. That's super interesting. It's kind of your version of TEDx, right? It taking it to the local scene as well. That's super interesting. And then your path towards. I'm so pleased to hear you say that. How do you use it to create ads and material that is compelling, and not just a rush to the middle or commoditized stuff that fast doesn't necessarily equal good, and good is the pair. You have to get to good, right? You have to get at least to good, if not great. And that should be the aspiration, is like, if you're the audience, does it move you? And if it doesn't, don't do it. just don't do it. And there's ways to test that. Like, and that's actually where technology is really good, is helping us, understand that quickly. So that's awesome. I love that. Um, so Hollywood just called, and they're going to do a biopic on you, Andrea. What's the name of the film, or what would you tell us about it?
Oh, that is a good one. I don't think I talk about work at all, which is interesting. I'm an immigrant. I'm from Germany, and I think my biopic would be about the immigrant story.
I love that.
Yeah,
Uh,
coming as a teenager, very, very
Kindness would be in it, I'm sure, because
Oh yeah,
yeah,
kindness would be leading for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, as an immigrant, coming as a teenager, you lead the family, and it's a tough place. You grow up way too fast because you do the translation for your family. You help the family with everything, which is one of the reasons I think I like change and I like taking charge and leading. It's because I learned it as a teenager, having come as an immigrant, and so I would probably have whoever Hollywood is. Um, Combine how this need of change, this need of growth and learning and leading and guiding with kindness, starting from the immigrant to my startup story.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. That'll be a great film. So, our listeners want to know where they can find you if they want to reach out. What's the best way to connect?
Yes, two ways. My name Andrea Palten on LinkedIn. I'm the only Andrea Palten in the world, so Google me, I'll show up. And then also my website is the cmogrowthguide.com. And you will see my AI search course there.
Perfect. Andrea, thank you so much for all your sage advice, counsel, and marketing talk. I will definitely look forward to having this out to the world and getting all the great feedback. So thank you again.
Thank you, Chris, for having me.
All right. Cheers.